let's create a query. Now a query is basically just a question that we ask of the information in our table. So let's say we want to know all of our friends who live in Seattle, for instance. So we go to create, we go to query, and we'll just go to the query wizard because that's kind of a quick way to create a query. And we're going to do a simple query. And now it gives us this wizard. And the wizard asks us first, which table do you want to use? Well, practice, because that's the only table we have, you see. And now it says, what do you want to list in here? Well, let's list the first name and the last name. And then we're going to go by state or city, right? We wanted Seattle. So we want to know the names of the people that live in Seattle. So we're selecting those fields to search in the practice table. Click next. What do we want to name it? Practice query is fine, but I like to do it without spaces because that can cause programmers trouble later on down the line if you put spaces in there. And then let's see, that's all the query, that's all the wizard needs. Do you want to modify the query's design? I think for now we're not going to do that because we don't really need to. So we're going to open the query to see how it looks. Okay, now this has brought back our first names, last names, and the city that they live in. But that's not what we wanted, is it? We wanted to know just the people who lived in Seattle. So we need to be more specific in this query, which means we need to do some design to it. So we're going to go to Home. We're going to go to Design View. Notice how all of these different objects have Design View. We can do Design View in tables. We can do Design View in queries. We can do Design View in forms. That's where the real work happens. That's where you do the modifications to your objects that make them do awesome things. So down here we have the different criteria for our queries. So you can see we have first name taken from the practice table, we have last name taken from the practice table, and we have city taken from the practice table. But what we really want is for the city to say Seattle. So we're going to type in Seattle here, and I'm going to hit enter. And notice how Access automatically puts some quotes around that. That's because it knows that the word Seattle is text. So the quotes just tell us that it's text. And in our query, we want it to display the names of the people who live in Seattle, but it doesn't necessarily need to have the word Seattle sitting next to their name. So we're going to click this little button, and that's going to hide this from the results. It's still going to use this as part of the query, as part of the question. And it's going to sort by only the cities that are named Seattle, but it just won't show the word Seattle. So let's go ahead and run this and see what happens. We click run. And now you see it came back with Bob Barker, who is our only person living in Seattle. And so if we go to our practice table and we verify that, we go to Bob Barker, and sure enough, he lives in Seattle. So that query works. And obviously that is a very simple query, but you can at least see how it works so that if you had a gigantic list of thousands, or maybe you have 1 million entries here, and you really do need to access all the people who live in Seattle, because let's say you have their email address. So this is like an email contacts list. And you need to send an email to all of the people who live in Seattle because you're doing a particular promotion with your business or something. So with that query right there, even if you had 1 million people in this database, you could quickly pull out a list of names and say, okay, so say we wanted to call them and not email them because we already have their phone number. Let's just tweak this and I'll show you how to throw their phone number in there. So we go to Design View, and we're going to grab the phone number field, and we just double click it and see it drops it in there. And now we click run. So now we have all of our people that live in Seattle and their phone number. So you can start your, whatever, your telethon campaign. Okay, so those are tables, queries, and forms. Now let's create a report.